We are back with our epic series looking at every single World's Strongest Man contestant for this year's competition. We're taking a look at their story so far, how we expect them to do in the events, and how we rate their overall chances. Today's athlete has grown in stature and in ability. The former under 105 athlete, Kevin Ferris from the USA.
So as you mentioned, Kevin Ferris was an under 105 athlete, and he was an exceptionally good one at that, winning the under 105 World Championships back in 2016 and then the under 105 Amateur Arnold Championships in 2017. His first open weight international was a Strongman Champions League competition in 2017, where out of 14 competitors, he placed second. Later that year at the open weight official Strongman Games, he placed second behind Trey Mitchell, and that earned him an invitation to the 2018 Giants Live North American Open, where he placed third, and that was a qualifier for World's Strongest Man.
And that was where I met him.
That was where you met him. His first World's Strongest Man was in 2019, and to be fair, he had a very tough group. Mateusz Kaliszkowski, JF Caron. He placed fourth in the group overall. Kevin returned to the World's Strongest Man in 2020, and he actually won his group this time and placed seventh in the final. At last year's World's Strongest Man, he had a really unlucky draw in the group, going up against Bobby Thompson, Luke Stockman, and Alexei Novikov, and he just missed out on getting to the final when he lost to Luke Stockman in the stone-off. Kevin competed at the World Tour Finals in Glasgow last year, where he set a new indoor world record on the nickel stones. Then at the 2022 Rogue Record Breakers this year, he set a new indoor record on the Dinny Stone replicas for distance. Mr. Grip then.
He has a phenomenal grip, moves exceptionally well with farmers, walks, frame carries. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have a frame carry at this year's World's Strongest Man or any nickel stones.
But we do have a grip test though.
We do have a grip test, and we'll delve into the events now and see how Mr. Ferris will do.
Ready for me?
I'm ready for you, Auntie Liz.
Event number one then, the loading race.
Loading is Kevin's event. 2 times at World's Strongest Man he's done loading. 2 times he has won the loading event. He's also done exceptionally well in other competitions when it comes to loading. This kid is fast. He's probably the fastest athlete competing right now when it comes to a loading event. I expect big points from Kevin on this one. And
he kind of dispels the myth that I started that the loading really suits the big guys at World's Strongest Man, because he's not that tall, is he?
He's probably the smallest guy competing at World's Strongest Man. He's used to being called that now a number of times, but he is. And it doesn't stop him. He's exceptionally strong, he's exceptionally fast, he's an amazing all-round athlete, and someone that often gets overlooked for the big monsters.
So can he hang with these monsters on the deadlift ladder?
I'd expect him to lose a few points on this one. As I said, I think he can go and win the loading. Deadlifting, I'm not so convinced on. He's more mid-table, I think, when it comes to deadlifting, and potentially even lower in a bad group. He's not a bad deadlifter by any means, but we just have so many great deadlifters at World's Strongest Man. So this is an event he may drop some points in.
What about the car walk then? We know he's great with farmers and frame. Is he also good at car walk?
Unfortunately not. He would so much prefer this to be a frame. Competed with him back in 2018. His frame walk was unbelievable. On the yoke, for some reason, maybe it's that smaller stature, a little bit smaller in the hips, he's not quite as effective. So this is an event he may drop some big points on, could put himself into an uncomfortable position trying to get through the group.
Hopefully another banker for Kevin in the wrecking ball hold, which is a grip test.
Yes, this is where he's going to pull those points back and get himself in contention. I think because he's got so many up and down events, he's going to struggle to win the group. But his goal has to be getting to the stone off. And when it comes to grip holds, he's exceptional. 2020 World's Strongest Man, where they had the Hercules hold in the final, he was second to JF Karan. So he's got an exceptional grip. We've seen that with the records that he's broken in terms of the Dinnies and the nickel stones. But that's not just about grip. This event will be grip solely. And yeah, he's performed exceptionally well when it comes to grip events.
What about his log lift then? Because we've got the log lift for reps.
Yeah, log not bad at all, especially when you look at his frame. You know, we mentioned it before, but he's not the biggest guy. At the World Tour Finals, for instance, he came 4th on the log for reps, and that was only behind both the Stoltmans and Maxime Boudreau, who are all very good log lifters. He's very accomplished when it comes to log lifting, and I think can score decent points.
So if he doesn't win the group, he's got to do the stone off if he's in 2nd or 3rd place if he wants to progress to the finals. He's not going to want to have to do that. Obviously, last year he lost out on that place to Luke Stoltman.
No, I agree. I really think if he wants to guarantee his position in the final, he needs to win the group. That's going to be very hard with a couple of weaker events in there. So he's going to have to make sure his stones have been going really well. Looking at his results on stones, they're not the best. I mean, he's not bad at all. Like I mentioned with a number of athletes, he's very solid stone lifter, but there's so many great stone lifters. So it could come down to who he's up against. If he's up against the likes of Luke Stoltman, I don't see him getting through. He's going to need an easier opponent than that.
So I think we're in agreement. Kevin has a good chance of making the final, but it might take a little bit of luck with him having a couple of weaker events in the groups.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin is an incredible strongman. He's done some amazing things, and he has some events that he's absolutely brilliant at. The problem for me for him this year is not enough of them are in this competition. He has a shot of making the final. He's going to be one of those guys when the seeds see someone like this in their group, you're going to be like, oh, I've got to work hard.
Bloody Kevin.
But I think he'd need the right opponent to get through on a stone off. And if he does make it through to the final, he doesn't have any of his weapons in the final. He's just going to... World's Strongest Man final, 10 of the best in the world. You need events. If he had a Hercules hold in there or a loading event, you'd think he could pick up points. But even when we look at the knack box, it goes into a yoke, which is not his favourite event. The deadlift at that level, he's a little bit lower. The log at that level, he's a little bit lower.
It's not a log, it's the Flintstone lift.
That's true.
And that could possibly suit him. He's been in under 105.
It could, but I think there's just bigger, stronger pressers in the competition. Truck pull really suits the bigger guys. And like I said, his stones, although not bad, he's not going to beat the likes of Ulysses, a Tom Stoltman, a Brian Shaw, a Maxime, a Evan. You know, there's so many big stone lifters. I just feel he's one of the athletes that could sneak into the final, but if he gets there, he's going to be bottom end.
Yeah, that's bottom end Kevin for you.
The thing is, I absolutely rate Kevin. I think he's an incredible strongman. But I know when it comes to a World's Strongest Man final, if you don't have events that you are beating the best guys at, you're going to struggle. I was an athlete like that. When there was a yoke or a frame carry, I could score big points. If it was my lesser favoured events, you place in that lower end of the table, then you drop down. So this year, he hasn't got his favourite events in the final. If there was nickel stones in there, Dinny stones, damn right he'd be scoring big points. It's just how strongman goes, and events always change in competition.
So guys, do you agree with Uncle Loz's analysis? Feel free to tell him your thoughts in the comments below. And if you are enjoying this series, please don't forget to like the video and make sure you have subscribed so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes or any of our World's Strongest Man coverage.